I don't remember how I intro this show.
You nailed it. You did the thing.
I did the thing. I am
I
your
feel
host.
welcome.
Yes, welcome. The intros are hard. I'm your host, Makenna. Joining me as always is Brandon. How are you today, Brandon?
Very, 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 very happy with today's episode.
Oh, I'm sure you are. And joining us is our very special guest, Joe. How are you today, Joe?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show. It has been a very good weekend, 3-day weekend. I don't get those very often, and just one of those happy accidents with the work schedule. But it has allowed this to happen, and yes, I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, we're super happy that you are here. And for this episode, you chose Blade Runner. And before we get into it, I would like to ask you, why did you choose Blade Runner as the movie?
It's definitely on HBO Max, and
Yes.
no, seriously, it's definitely one of my favorite films. God, it's something, between this and Neuromancer that kind of spawned cyberpunk as a genre, which is cool. Just in general, this film has been such an inspiration for so much of the past 40 years of filmmaking. Uh, it still looks gorgeous, even if you're not looking at this final cut that we all watched here. I'll tell you, I had the VHS of the director's cut in the probably mid 90s, and I, ran through that thing to the point where the reels on the cassette squeaked as it played
Wow.
in the VCR. So I did enjoy this film, but my first experience was probably seeing the original theatrical cut on like USA or something like that. Obviously heavily edited, but I probably would have been a kid in the late 80s, early 90s when I would have experienced that. And then my healthy, or maybe not so healthy, addiction to buying letterbox VHSs at Suncoast Motion Picture Company in the mall in the 90s would have added this to the collection. So there you go.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I know, Brandon, this is one of your favorite movies. Is it your favorite?
This is my favorite movie of all time.
Number one?
Number one.
Yeah.
And like not even close to it. Anything else even comes close to touching this one as number one. My history of this movie is sort of strange. I first heard about this movie, I must have been like a junior or a senior in high school, and My Chemical Romance was about to drop their album Danger Days, which they debuted with one of the most amazing music videos I've ever seen for the song Na 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 Na. And like in the interviews for that album, which I was so hyped for because of that music video, they talked about how recording that album, they were watching Blade Runner on a loop in the studio. And that's why the album was called Danger Days, and a bunch of the stuff in that album was inspired by Blade Runner. And I was like, I gotta see this movie. I gotta see what this is all about. And the movie that you imagine when you hear the movie title Blade Runner, and it's about a guy hunting robots in the future, you imagine a completely different movie than what you actually get. And I wasn't able to find the movie for like another year or two, because like we didn't really get Netflix. Like I live out in the middle of nowhere, so we didn't really get like high speed internet until like my senior year of high school, when I could start like streaming stuff, and even then it wasn't on Netflix back then. So I think it was like we finally got Amazon Prime Video, and you could rent whatever you want. I finally got to see Blade Runner. Wasn't what I was expecting at all, but I got a movie that was so much better than what I was expecting. I was expecting like a Universal Soldier or like some kind of fun action movie that I was going to enjoy, and instead I got a very deep, cerebral film with some of the most mind-blowing special effects I'd ever seen.
Had you had any experience with any Philip K. Dick stories to that point, or maybe that you weren't aware of?
I had seen Johnny Mnemonic. which is based on a Philip K. Dick story. I would get into Philip K. Dick later, the short time that I was in college. I would read what's his absolutely insane book? I think it's called Ubik, which is just literally about the author losing his mind and just kind of documenting it. It was amazing. I had seen A Scanner Darkly as well. That movie's insane. I love that film, but yeah, it's a very different kind of science fiction. And this especially, Ridley Scott is probably my favorite director. He's just put out so many great films, and you can never tell it's Ridley Scott when he's making a movie, which I love. And yeah, just over the years, I just have I watched this multiple times every single year. Me and Joe own the same 20th anniversary Blu-ray edition, which comes with every cut of the film. So I've seen every cut of Blade Runner. I've now seen, in preparation for this podcast, I watched all 5 cuts again.
Oh, Jesus.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. I did this last year we were supposed to record a Blade Runner episode of this podcast. I watched all 5 cuts in preparation for that. Watched the Dangerous Days documentary we were talking about a little bit before we hit record. And then our guest told us they hated the film and didn't feel like discussing it with us. And I was like, understandable. I will never hate on anybody who doesn't enjoy this film, because it's sort of like Joe and I, we for his podcast Murders with Mertens, we did Mulholland Drive, which is I think in some ways a pretty similar movie. Very long, very show don't tell, and definitely not for everybody. I think Joe and I both tend to like these movies that are expressing filmmaking in a different style than what is traditional. So yeah, not for everybody. I'm glad that eventually we could do a podcast on Blade Runner, though.
I'm very happy. I will say I did like it the second time around. I think because I sort of knew what was happening better.
I do think this is a movie, and like I usually hate this as an excuse for like movies. I think it's a movie that gets much better the more you watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I think like the big thing like that this movie excels in is that it's like you just get to like sit in this weird future Los Angeles for a couple hours and just get to experience
the far
all
off
this
future
crazy stuff.
of November 2019.
I know.
3-4 months before the pandemic.
Yep. Times were different, you know?
Yeah.
It's so like once you can like, there's barely any plot in this movie. It does not need to be as long as it is to cover.
Yeah, it is
this
a very
plot.
cut and dry plot.
Yeah. So like once you know that like the plot doesn't matter, you don't have to be following it that closely, and you really just get to sit with the movie for a while and sort of try to interpret like why there's a unicorn in the movie and stuff. I think it becomes a much better film.
So speaking of the unicorn a bit, my experience with Blade Runner before watching it for the first time last year, it plays a big part in Ready Player One, which is one of my favorite books. I know Brandon's not the biggest fan of it, but it plays a decent sized part in that book, and the unicorn is in it. And I remember watching it because I watched it last night, and I remember thinking like, what is the unicorn? Is that's in this movie? I think that was from Ready Player One. It was the Blade Runner reference, and then yeah, at the end, I still don't get it, but you know, and I do have a little bit of experience with Philip K. Dick. I've read one of his books. That's it. That's all I've got.
So what did you think of Man in the High Castle? That's the one you read, right?
Yes. I liked it better than the Amazon series. The Amazon series ran for like 4 seasons and like extended, like the book only was like up to the first season, and then for some reason they kept going with the other 3. I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
He's a weird writer.
He is a very weird writer. Yeah, no, it took me a bit to get through it. Very, very different.
I will say, like,
Yes.
I've read the book a couple times for Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep.
Mhm.
I would say that it is like loosely based on that book.
That's
It's
what I've
a
heard.
very,
The
very different.
point and click graphic adventure from the late 90s is much closer to the book. It takes a lot of the story elements, and it also tries to tie into the film to a decent degree.
Yeah.
I think it just got re-released on like GOG and
It did. I was just
PSN.
looking at it last night. I was thinking about maybe
I
streaming
bet
it.
you were. But yeah, that's an interesting one for sure. Yeah, I've seen Man in the High Castle, but not read the book. I enjoyed the show for what it was. I think it was
Yeah.
fun, but um,
Well, so one thing with Man in the High Castle is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is a direct, almost follow up to Man in the High Castle, because he got the idea. Yeah, McKenna's probably got it in her notes. He got the idea for the replicants. The replicants in the movie are very, very different from the replicants in the book, and like like the themes and like the meaning of the works are very, very different. The replicants in the book are based off of the experiences he got reading Nazi war diaries and like even like concentration camp workers in preparation for writing Man in the High Castle. And so like the idea of the replicants in the book is that they are people without empathy. They have no empathy whatsoever. And that's sort of the main differentiating factor. And that's part of what's going on in the movie, but it's very different.
Yeah, when I read that when I was researching fun facts, I was like, well, that's not very fun. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. I didn't realize that it was they were connected. The one Philip K. Dick book I have read is connected to this movie. I was like, oh shit, what are the chances? So I will go into my facts and figures. I've got, well, the bulk of it is just these 7 different versions of this movie, but we'll get to there. The original cut was released June 25th, 1982. It opened right after E.T., so it sort of didn't do too hot in the box office. It had a budget of $30 million, and it made $27.6 million, but it has now made $41.6 million after the aforementioned 7 versions.
The release of this movie is so funny because this came out in between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. So, like, Indiana Jones has come out. 2 Star Wars movies have come out. All these kids are excited to go see this new Harrison Ford movie where he fights robots, and they get Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Yeah, a title borrowed from William S. Burroughs, by the way. Let's just add a little bit of extra not kid-friendly shit.
Mac, do you have the name in your facts and figures, like how they got the name?
I don't, but I'm very interested now.
So Ridley Scott pretty much got to do whatever he wanted as a follow-up to Alien. And like he put out a couple like successful movies, and so they handed him a bunch of scripts that they had on spec. And so they had Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. They had just like several scripts, and one of the scripts was a movie called Blade Runner. And he was like, I like the script for this one, but the name sucks. I like the name for this one. So he like ripped the cover off and stapled it on to Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep.
So what I know about Ridley Scott and him naming movies, this is just par for the course at this point, I'm learning. Like, I need to know how Ridley Scott named his other movies now. Because that's amazing. Like, he just... Imagine having that much power that you can be like, we're changing, just completely switching everything.
He bowed out of potentially directing Return of the Jedi to do this. So, I mean, just think how different that could be. Also, you know, David Lynch famously could have directed Return of the Jedi. And that's, wow, that could be a very different thing. But yeah, we got a little campy Dune instead. And that's okay. I like that.
This movie, it was nominated for a number of things, but in particular, 8 BAFTAs. It won 3, 2 Oscar nominations, and a Golden Globe nomination. The soundtrack, in particular, had 2 nominations, and lost both times to E.T. You can't go wrong with John Williams. I'm sorry.
You can't. I was about to get a little upset, but it's like, yeah, I get it.
The ET soundtrack bangs. Like
Yeah.
it's tough. And like if you go look at like the year this movie came out, it's such a crazy year. There's so many good movies that came out that year. So 100%. Yeah, it's at least it got the nominations, you know?
Yeah, you know, it got that on the IMDb page.
Especially because it got the nominations for the theatrical cut, which Makenna, we didn't watch the theatrical cut. No. Theatrical cut sucks.
Oh, well.
I'm of a similar mind. Yes.
Some people prefer it. It has this narration to it the entire time, like a.
Okay, yeah, I kept reading about it.
So they added. They felt like it was like hard to, which I mean, fair enough. They felt it was hard to understand where things were going and like what the plot beats were. And so they were like, it's a noir film, so just do like, you know what you do in a noir film. Have the
do your Philip
Deckard,
Marlowe shit.
Yeah, the Philip Marlowe. Like I'm gonna talk over it. I'm gonna explain it.
Instead,
Harrison Ford was so upset that he had to do it that he just completely gave up in the booth, and you can tell he is not trying at all. He's like, and then they told me to go over there, so I did.
Yes. Yeah. So I think I watched the theatrical release and not the final cut.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Yeah, that voiceover not great.
It's so bad. It's like, so bad.
I'm reading the ingredient list on the back of a cereal box or something.
It would go from the voiceover to like Deckard actually speaking, and like the two are just so completely like, I get it, Ford is out, you know, but like, oh my god, it's
I believe what Harrison Ford has said was that he intentionally tried to make it as bad as possible so that the studio wouldn't use it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I read as well. Fortunately, he couldn't get it bad enough.
Yeah, it wasn't great. Now I really want to watch the final. I need to find somewhere where I can find the final cut.
When you get back into the States, you'll get it on. Yeah. It's on. Okay. I think it's on both HBO and Netflix.
Sweet. The first thing I do when I go back, watching the final cut of Blade Runner. It was selected in 1993 for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. It has a sequel that came out in 2017, Blade Runner 2049. I've never seen it. I don't know what it's about.
I believe we have somebody lined up for the future who wants to review that film, so we will get to it eventually.
Cool.
It's good. It's really good.
I like Ryan.
It is fucking beautiful.
It's extremely beautiful. I mean,
the poster looks pretty.
Yeah, I don't like it as much, but it's still very good film.
I vacillate back and forth on whether I like the original or the sequel better. Once you do get around to watching that, I think it's worth a watch. But the animated series from this past fall, Black Lotus, has the worst dialogue ever. So if you have the ability to watch it with Japanese dialogue, by all means do so.
Okay.
Because the American dubbing is just horrible. But the action scenes and the overall aesthetic are just fucking killer, man. They nailed the assignment with that. But they hired tons of people that are not voice actors, particularly for dubbing. So,
shame.
It's a shame.
There were. I did have about Black Lotus, but I did not look. I just had it was 2021 anime. That's all I had on it. But maybe I'll look and I probably will. The role of Deckard before Harrison. I'm gonna restart that sentence. The role of Deckard had many actors considered for the role, including it was a long list. I only chose a few people.
It's a very long list.
I mainly chose people that I recognize: Dustin Hoffman, Sean Connery, Jack Nicholson, Arnold Schwarzenegger, And then like I can't read my writing. Robert Mitchum? Is that okay? I think that's
Robert Mitchum, yeah.
Yes, he like I think like the Deckard's dialogue was written with the intention of Robert Mitchum playing Deckard, and then Ford ended up getting the role instead.
I think the closest was they were extremely close to getting Dustin Hoffman. Like their screen test with Hoffman in the Deckard.
Yeah, the storyboard artists were like using his likeness at one point, or not the storyboard artist, but you know the what do you call him? Shit, I'm blanking because Ridley Scott does most of his own storyboard drawing. That's why I'm getting at. But yeah, you see all these images with Dustin Hoffman as Deckard, and that's weird.
He would have done a great. He's
I think
great
so.
actor.
Yeah.
Great actor.
Absolutely.
But I like imagining this movie without Harrison Ford. It's just like because Harrison Ford does such a good job of being both like the cunning detective when he needs to be the detective, but also just being a miserable drunk the entire film.
Yeah, I only know Dustin Hoffman from All the President's Men. So, Carl Bernstein just taking down replicants. That's all I had in my head when I read that.
I want to see that movie. Okay.
Bernstein and Woodward, take on something new. Ridley Scott considers this his most personal and complete movie. I don't have anything else after that. That's all I wrote. I don't know why I didn't write anything. Apparently that's what he said in an interview one time. Quarantine.
Well, I mean that makes sense. Like a lot of Ridley Scott like is mostly a work for hire director. He doesn't do a lot of like personal films. And when you look at his filmography, he doesn't have like a defined like oeuvre the way like a Quentin Tarantino does or a David Lynch does. It's he did Aliens and then he did Blade Runner, and you're like, okay, this guy, he's like a dark science fiction director. What's he gonna do next? Thelma and Louise.
I didn't realize he did Thelma and Louise.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Amazing.
And Kingdom of Heaven and
Gladiator.
Yep.
He can he directs every kind of movie. Like he just doesn't care. He's there to he's not there to make a Ridley Scott movie. He's there to make he's like, okay, you want to make me a sword and sandals Russell Crowe movie? I can do it. You want me to do two ladies stealing a car? I can do it.
It's amazing. And then my final bit of trivia is just about the 7 versions of this movie. So buckle up. The first one, the work print, released March 1982. It was for test audiences in Denver and Dallas. It was called the original director's cut, even though it didn't have Ridley Scott's approval. And then it was re-shown in 90 and 91 in LA and San Francisco. The second one, it was It was, and it's why we ended up getting a director's cut of the movie. Was that the movie didn't do well. It was a huge bomb, but it became like a cult classic, and a theater in LA wanted to show Blade Runner for their audience, and so they ordered a copy of the print, and they were accidentally sent the work print, and they showed that, and they were like, "Wow, this is a way better movie." Amazing. Second one, released May 1982, the San Diego sneak preview. It was shown once, and it had 3 more scenes. Let me see if I can read my writing. It had an introduction to Roy. It had Deckard reloading his gun after Roy breaks his fingers, and then it had Deckard and Rachel leaving off into the sunset. The third one was the U.S. theatrical release, released June 1982, with the happy ending. Yeah, ending. And the voiceover, 1982, the international release, which is the Criterion edition, and it has 3 violent scenes added to it. And it was, in 1992, it was re-released in the U.S. with the violent scenes. The fifth one.
Laserdisc.
Ooh, we love a Laserdisc. The fifth one United States Broadcast Edition, 1986. It was edited by CBS, and it was toned down violence, profanity, and nudity. The sixth one, 1992, director's cut, Ridley Scott approved, no voiceover. It had the unicorn dream sequence and no happy ending. And finally, the final cut, released in 2007, the only version that Ridley Scott had complete artistic control over, and it had all the bells and whistles. It had the unicorn dream. It had all the international scenes. Apparently,
it has the more violent versions of Roy crushing the head.
That's what, no.
Yeah, that's what that's. I can't remember. Does the theatrical cut do the actual breaking of the fingers? Like you get to see it all the way? Okay.
I think it shows one, and then the other one you see his reaction from the other side of the wall.
Okay. But yeah, I know the main one is that like him crushing the guy's head. It's pretty gnarly in the final cut.
Yeah. Lloyd the bartender goes out pretty pretty spectacular.
Makenna, did you recognize the actor? He's the bartender from The Shining.
Oh shit, you're right. Wait, I have another fact about The Shining, because I hate The Shining. The ending title sequence used unused footage from The Shining. I'm so sorry. It was unused footage from The Shining.
Yeah, they repurposed the opening tracking shot of The Shining to be Deckard and Rachel going off into this.
Yeah, they had like
forest.
6 days of helicopter shoots trying to make something work, and everything was like snowy and foggy and shit and cloudy. And they just reached out to Stanley Kubrick, who actually answered the call and said, yeah, sure, why not? Just don't use anything that I actually used in The Shining. And okay.
Incredible.
Yeah, let's make an already not great scene that much more not great by extending it. Awesome.
Woo! Yeah. Oh, I didn't recognize the bartender from The Shining either. I tried to block that out. I'm sorry. Listen, I didn't have a good time. I like the book more than the movie. Anyway, listen, I yelled at some hot dogs halfway through watching The Shining. I was not a happy camper. It was not a good time for me.
I'm mixed on The Shining. I don't particularly enjoy it that much, but I'm not a Stanley Kubrick fan really.
Neither am I. I just enjoy.
He's got I love Dr. Strangelove. Just that movie's fucking hilarious. And I like 2001's okay, but yeah, I don't know. Not a big Kubrick fan.
Yeah, I think I've seen The Shining and I've seen 2001. I think that's it. I think that's it. I know he also did A Clockwork Orange, which I really liked the book, and I'm very nervous about watching the movie.
Yeah, we thought about doing an episode of that one. I was like, Makenna, you're gonna hate this movie.
I know, I'm just gonna be angry the entire time because I really liked the book. But yeah, those are. Oh wait, no. Okay, I have a couple more notes that I don't know what they mean because I wrote them on the one from last year and when I was rewriting my notes. So Brandon, I'm hoping you can help me.
Okay.
Top Gun versus Blade Runner.
Oh, I like this already.
Top Gun versus Blade Runner.
That's all
What does it mean? What does it mean?
And it's not like it was just written in the margins from last year.
I'm gonna Google Top Gun Blade Runner and see what comes up.
Joe, do you have any thoughts about what this could possibly mean?
Oh, wait a minute. Wasn't Top Gun directed by Ridley's brother, Tony Scott?
Yes.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay.
It's both the Scott brothers.
Yes.
The Scott brothers.
Oh, so did these come out like the same year?
No. Top Gun was like 86 or 87, something like that.
Maybe there was some kind of like thing that the brothers did, some kind of competition while making the movies. But yeah, it's the Scott brothers, who are both incredible directors.
Oh yes.
Interesting. There we go.
They both love their smoke too.
Yep.
Blade Runner is filled with it, and Beverly
Yes.
Hills Cop 2 is drenched in smoke.
Yep. And then Michael Bay comes along and just copy pastes everything Tony Scott does, and it's filled with smoke and bright lights everywhere. It's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. And the other mystery. So I didn't mean to hit you guys with a game in the middle of this. The other mystery word, it just says glasses. I think this is a reference to Brandon, your love for the glasses in Deckard's apartment. I think if I had to guess.
Yeah, I have that written down here. The glasses. I love Deckard's rock glasses so much. Yeah. They are so fucking cool. I want them so bad, but they're
Didn't they
so damn
recreate
expensive.
those for $20.49 and like sold them along with some Johnny Walker?
They did the Johnny Walker bottle too in this, which is so cool. They've done releases of them a couple times. They're fucking expensive. One day I will own them.
Yes. That concludes Game Time on HBO Max. Man, we should do more of these where we say we're going to do something a year ago, and I just write random notes in the margins, and then a year later
we'll
we
pick
find
one
out
a
what
year. We'll pick one.
Time travel's hard. It's really hard. But no, if you're gonna do a little Game Time thing, you need a jingle. So something else to work on.
Yes.
Yeah. Next year we'll have a very fun episode of revisiting notes. We'll have a jingle ready and everything.
Yes. I'm sure I have enough that could probably fill up. No, okay. But on to the meat and potatoes. A half hour in.
Yep. This is gonna be a long one.
It's Blade Runner time, baby. Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. So Mac, how your general feelings about the movie this time? What did you like? What you didn't like? What was going on?
Okay, like I said before, I liked it more than the first time that I watched it. Because I understood more. I also made sure to read the Wikipedia page afterwards just to make sure I really knew. I really liked the color palette and the soundtrack of the movie. I don't know. I thought it was pretty, and I thought
the soundtrack is really, really great. Yes. It's like a noir saxophone, but through a synthesizer.
Yes,
it's so cool.
I read that the composer had just come off of doing Chariots of Fire as well, so it's like, amazing. Yeah. It was great. It's great. Oh, I also had written down that's some rough narration there too.
The narration sucks. The color palette is interesting because normally when you think of like a bright movie with like a bunch of purples, blues, it's all neon, it's all like gorgeous, but in this movie it's like really oppressive. Like it is both bright and dark at the same time. I obviously my favorite shots in this movie are like the big sweeping shots of the city with the billboards everywhere and stuff. It's so good. It's beautiful film.
Yes, so pretty. Still confused about the unicorn because, of course, as we now know, I watched the theatrical 1982
So
release.
You didn't get any unicorn this time.
I got the unicorn on the floor at the very end, and he picked it up.
Yeah, it's strange that they left that in when they cut the unicorn out of the earlier part of the film. Okay, so Makenna, before we get deep into the unicorn, do you have any ideas?
Shit, I knew you were gonna ask me about this. Oh gosh. So all I know about it is that there was a unicorn dream sequence of a unicorn going through the woods, I think.
Yes.
I think. Okay. So it's we're gonna go with like the replicants are like unicorns. They're very unique, but they're not supposed to be there. And Deckard is chasing. I don't know who's dreaming about the unicorns. I'm assuming it's Deckard.
It's Deckard.
Okay. And he's chasing the unicorns through the woods. And the unicorn, yes. We're
Okay.
gonna go with that.
So that's not a bad interpretation of the unicorn.
I'll take it.
That's a fairly common one. So one thing in the film is that more in the book than in the movie, but animals are like super precious, right?
Right.
So like a lot of the Voight-Kampff test that they do works around like at the beginning when you see the Voight-Kampff test done the first time, the first question that he hits him with is one where he's cruel to an animal, which doesn't make sense because animals, it's the future, everything sucks, there's like no plants or anything, so like animals are really precious. You see the robot owl and stuff, like even fake animals are precious. So like there's the idea that like the unicorn is a mythical creature, and so that it's even like a higher echelon of like protected, and that maybe the replicants are more precious than they're treated by society. So that is one interpretation of the unicorn. Another one, which I'm not sure if Makenna has looked into this at all, and I'm very interested to bring this up to her. Makenna.
Yeah.
Is Deckard a replicant?
Okay, I was gonna ask this question because I kept seeing this show up on IMDb and Wikipedia and every other place I looked. I don't know. Okay, everything is telling me no because I don't think he is, because I think it would be dumb, but I don't know. He's like so, but at the same time, okay. Oh no. Okay, so like he's so trusted. Like he's like this hot shot Blade Runner dude. He's got to retire like 4 billion times apparently.
Is he that?
Now that I'm double get, like, is he so good because he is also a replicant? But like he doesn't have the cool glint in his eyes.
But
oh no,
he does. There is one scene where he does.
Oh no.
When after they kill Leon and they go back to his house and like he washes up and he stands behind her, and for just like a couple frames he has the light in his eyes.
Oh no. Oh, what do you guys think?
I mean,
you have more knowledge about this.
Just from having watched the director's cut for so many years, and then the final cut finally, I think it's fairly explicit. He is a replicant. I think by the time, I won't get into the sequel at all because you haven't seen it yet. And I hate to do that to you, but I think
I do think particularly like this conversation should exclude the sequel. There was never supposed to be a sequel.
Yeah,
the film as intended should be like looked at.
Oh yeah, it's a bottle
box.
But yeah, I think he probably is. I also feel like him finding the unicorn, origami at the end, could just be Gaff fucking with him.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So because he's basically done that throughout the film. Yeah.
One thing about the director's cut, Makenna, is that the unicorn dream sequence, it like ends with like the unicorn like shaking its head, the way horses do. Mm-hmm. And then that cuts directly to Deckard at his piano also doing the little head shake. So one of the ideas is that the unicorn is Deckard. He is a special replicant that doesn't know it's a replicant. So for the most part, I spent most of my time with this film, which is now like 10 years of watching this movie over and over again. Most of the time I have spent it saying that Deckard's not a replicant. Like just from like the function of the movie, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense for him to be a replicant. Now, Ridley Scott had pretty much consistently said that Deckard is a replicant. Well, pretty much everybody else in the movie involved making it says that he's not. he doesn't have like the enhanced strength of a replicant. So like the people like, if you're gonna hunt replicants, it's best to send a replicant after a replicant. Why would that work if he's not Deckard's not a very smart guy, to be honest. He's not very strong. He gets his ass kicked by Roy when Roy is like dying and barely functioning. He also
kind of
like
lucky in parts.
Yeah.
It's
Also, like everything else about his behavior, like he drinks so much. Is that part of his programming to just drink like he's wants to die? The like one of the other evidence for Deckard is that his house is completely like littered with photographs and stuff, which replicants collect photos in lieu of having memories. That's why like he finds that giant stack of photos that Leon's been keeping. But I think the intent of the film is to ask a more interesting question with all of this, which is, does it even matter if Deckard is a replicant? Does it change how you feel about Deckard if he is a replicant or if he isn't? That is sort of the central crux of the film, which is like, do the replicants deserve to live or not? So if we ask the question, well, what if the main character is a replicant? Now we have to sit there and think about things.
Yep. You could have a similar conversation about the way that he treats Rachel, because let's be fair, that's one of the bits of this film that did not age super well, because he gets a little rapey there. But I'm sure there are people that will have the conversation. Yeah, but what does it matter? She's not really human. Well, I mean, she's an engineered human. And at a certain point, I mean,
the main conversation the film wants to have is, what does it mean to be human?
Yep.
Even if Deckard is a replicant, does that make him any less human? We spent this entire movie with him. We know that he is a person. We know that he has emotions and that he wants things. And so what does it matter whether or not he is artificially created or naturally created?
Interesting. Yeah. Oh. I don't know. It's also a thing of like, well, shit. He's hunting his own, like, he's a replicant hunting other replicants. Like, that's fucked up.
Well, I mean, think about it from Roy's perspective. Roy he's a replicant built to be a soldier, right? Mm-hmm. Who's he fighting in these wars?
Oh, shit.
Other replicants.
Oh no, I don't like this dilemma. Oh my god. Now there's 2 people in the bathroom over there. Sorry, I looked over. There hasn't been people in that bathroom for days.
Are they eating nuts again?
I think one may have had half a watermelon.
Oh, wow. This gets more interesting.
They left.
Are you sure that's their bathroom, or is that their kitchen?
I'm not sure now, because it doesn't look like... It's not the kitchen. Because it looks sort of... I can't tell. Because, like, it sort of looks like my room, but it doesn't. There's, like, an armoire or something. Like, the closet is over there. I don't know. I'm sorry. I should stop looking out the window during these recordings. Dude, I tell you, there hasn't been a soul in that room for the last week. And now all of a sudden there's 2 people. Eating maybe a watermelon.
Yeah,
maybe that's an Airbnb over there.
It's student housing. We're all in the student housing.
Oh.
It's like dorms. It's weird here, man. But yes, Blade Runner.
I don't even remember what we were talking about at this point.
Mac, you got anything else on
Yeah,
the
I
notes
do.
to talk about?
Can humans see the
eye glow?
the eye glow? Yeah.
No.
Okay, so it's purely just
it's
for the audience to know.
It's a non-literal effect.
Okay. Interesting. So, like, okay. I don't know how to phrase this. Why did they make Rachel in particular special? Like, why did they choose her? Why did Tyrell?
I see her as an experiment for future generations of replicants.
Mhm.
Yes.
So, like, are replicants still being made? Because, like, they're out. They can't do Earth, the thing on.
So
but, like, are they still being?
The reason that he goes to interview Rachel is that she is what Roy is, which is a Nexus 7, a new run of the replicants. And so the reason that they're experimenting with Rachel is that as Tyrell, the motto of the Tyrell Corporation is more human than human, right? They're trying to make the replicants more human so that they are a better slave.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huh.
Particularly fucked up.
Yeah.
And so like so one of the reason sort of the journey that Roy goes through and stuff is that they are so in the book, like I said, it's that the replicants are built without any empathy, right? The way that the movie does it is that they're built essentially like children. Like they have intelligence, but they don't have any emotional intelligence. So it develops throughout their life as they grow older, which is sort of the tragedy of, and you see it a lot in Rutger Hauer's performance. It's very good of like his scenes with, what's is her name?
Pris. Yeah.
Yeah. Where they make out like they're teenagers, like they're just kind of learning how to make out and stuff. It's so like like the tragedy of the replicant is that like the 4-year lifespan means that they're dying just as they're learning what it means to die. Yeah. So by I think the idea, at least in some amount, is that like if they seed them with memories, they're already emotionally developed and that they're capable of doing more stuff.
Interesting. Huh. Oh.
Yeah, it's very fucked up.
A lot of the
super
stuff
sad.
in this movie is really sad.
Yeah.
It is. Oh no. So like why how long has Deckard been around? Because like they talk about how he's like the Blade Runner, but like
I don't even know that he
he's, like,
necessarily was one.
oh,
I have
shit.
my interpretation is that they basically got their own Hollywood set dresser and put together this apartment with all this shit that is basically from his implanted memories.
Yeah.
And he's never been on the job. Everybody's in on it.
Okay.
So I mean, everybody's in on it. He only hangs out with 2 people ever.
Yeah, Bryant and Gaff.
Yeah. And so one of the most concrete theories that I've read regards to Deckard being a replicant is that so the way he functioned, he would have to be like Rachel, right? He would have to have seeded memories.
Right.
So whose memories does he have? He's the old Blade Runner. He's got Gaff's memories. And that's why Gaff knows about the unicorn to put there at the end.
Interesting. Oh, everything's connected. I like this. Well, not the fucked up part, but I like the connections.
That kind of such a sicko. Yeah.
This is what we're learning. Yeah. This is great. This is making so much more. Things are making so much sense.
Can we talk just for a minute about some of the amazing supporting cast?
Edward James Olmos is so good.
Yeah, with those piercing blue eyes.
Oh.
And
Hell yeah.
Like his outfit is just like so
yeah,
dope.
yeah, it is. Yep, you get James Hong for just a minute.
Oh man, James Hong is so good. Yeah, as Chew from iWorld. Yeah, he's great. Daryl Hannah does an incredible job. She's so good in this movie.
You know who we almost got as another replicant is, and I can't think of the actress's name. Oh, now I can. Stacey Nelkin, who is the heroine from Halloween 3, which has no connections to any of the other Halloween movies other than they're actually watching the original Halloween at one point in the movie. But she plays a character in that film who is eventually replaced by an android replicant.
She got to be in a robot movie eventually.
Eventually, yep. And also, like Blade Runner, one that wasn't appreciated until many years later.
So I am curious about that. What flipped the switch? Was it like the different cuts that like made people watch this more, or like what?
Just home video in general, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this film bombed really hard, but it was like appreciated. Like it got some good reviews and stuff. Like there was like people really didn't like Harrison Ford's narration and stuff, but overall like it was like the best special effects anybody had ever seen and stuff. And so like this movie did have a cult following for a while. And yeah, home video did really well for it and stuff. But then like there was that story about them getting the work print cut on accident. And then that sort of like spread out about how there was this, it was almost like the original Snyder cut of people being like, there is this magic cut of Blade Runner that is so much better than the original cut. And everybody was just like started demanding to see it. And eventually, yeah, they allowed Ridley Scott to do his director's cut. And then the director's cut was huge. Very, very much appreciated as like a great classic film. And then eventually, Ridley Scott asked to do the final cut to really touch up the effects and then to like do 100%, director approved, full control version of the film.
Yeah, I really liked learning or like reading about how it was like, it didn't do too hot in the box office. It was competing against the Star Wars and E.T. and all the other things. And then here we are. It's like made many lists about like the best sci-fi film and like it's in the Library of Congress, that whole thing. I don't know. I like how it did its thing.
The movie has a nice career arc of getting the appreciation that it deserved.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to read about. Yeah, no, I don't have too much on my notes of like the actual film because like it was just blowing my mind the entire. I was like, oh shit, this thing makes sense and that thing makes sense and like I know what's happening and I know why people are important.
I appreciate the hell out of in the final cut a couple of the things that they did go back and sort of fix and touch up. The scene of Zora getting gunned down and running through several
the glass and snow shot
windows,
iconic.
And it was already iconic to begin with, and because it looks so seamless in the final cut, I didn't know about the touch up in all this until watching these documentaries and how they brought the actress Joanna Cassidy back like 25 years later because they just slapped a bad wig on a stunt double in the original version and it looks nothing like her. And they just went through and green screened some shit and had her match the motions and everything. And you could not tell that this was all composited. It's just phenomenal. And then the little bit with Harrison Ford and the snake dealer, where the dialogue does not match his mouth whatsoever. And they got his son who was the same age at the time as Harrison was when he filmed the film, to come in. They applied the scar, to his chin, because you got to have the iconic Harrison Ford scar.
Yep.
And yeah, they got him to match the dialogue, and it's just, it's one of those things that just works so much better. And it's such a minor little, blink and you'll miss it. Doesn't add to the story in any way, but it just makes everything, just look more finished.
Yeah. Well, I think that was one of the real reasons Ridley Scott wanted to do the final cut, was that like the film looked great on VHS, and then when they went to do like high definition DVD Blu-ray releases of it, it was like, some of this stuff's not going to work. This is going to look so bad when it gets in high definition. And so yeah, he got the money to go back and like really like make this like an infinitely better film just through some minor touches.
I am curious, because like you guys have watched this movie maybe a million times.
A lot
combined between both. Yeah.
Are there still new things that you pick up on each watch through, or like, is it,
I don't think that it's like I pick up new things. It's more that I get reminded of things, because there's so much. Like this time, one thing that really popped out to me is just like the light up umbrellas. It's like how cool that is. And it's like it's when I'm not watching the movie, I'm thinking about like the bigger picture of it all. And then like when I actually sit down to watch, I'm like, I forget all the cool little details they do with everything in this movie.
Yeah, and just how lived in it is. I mean, you got the Hare Krishnas going through the one scene, and just how crowded and dense.
Yeah.
God, those light up umbrellas, by the way, they made a ton of those and sent those out to influencers and press and stuff for the Black Lotus series.
I would love one of those.
He's so cool.
So cool. Another thing that like really stuck out to me this time was that like the language Gaff speaks in City Speak, barely used in the movie. It's just this little throwaway thing of just like, and it's Expanse fans will know Belter Creole. It's a very like similar thing of this like pastiche of all these different languages like layered on top of each other.
But mostly Hungarian, and I guess it plays really well because he calls Deckard like a horse dick or something like that.
Yeah. It's just it doesn't need to be there. Like it doesn't add anything to the plot. It doesn't add. It's just like there to be like, yeah, this world is bigger than can be conceived in this film. There's so much that you're not even seeing.
That's so like, obviously this is just Los Angeles, but like, is it to be assumed that like other major cities are similar to LA, like, or is it just, has everything like been swallowed by water and only LA is left? Or like,
I believe pretty much in the book especially, it's like there are a few major cities left that everybody has just been crammed into, and then like basically the entire middle of the country and up like all of California besides LA is just desert.
Interesting. So that's very similar to like Man in the High Castle, where it's like you had like the Pacific Nazis obviously on the Pacific, and then there was like a branch in the north, and then like the middle bit was just like, I don't even remember, but there wasn't really much there. I think it was like neutral, but that's interesting. Sorry,
I love all the little ties in other films. It's like there's a lot of speculation that until they started doing prequels, that there were ties to like the Alien films, and then
Ridley Scott had pretty much all but confirmed that like Blade Runner and Alien take place in the same universe, and he plans on fleshing that out to some extent. But yeah, they're like Blade Runner I think is set in the future of Alien, because we get in Alien a look at an early version of a replicant.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. And then what's that Kurt Russell film? Soldier. Yep. Yep. It's okay
Yeah.
movie, but you know,
Yeah,
little ties
it's
here and there.
weird. Yeah, it's weird. It's Blade Runner prequel ish, just set in the same world as Blade Runner for no reason at all.
Yep, but I'm okay with that shit.
But
Give me that.
in I think specifically in Deckard's car, you get like the same kind of like computer system that the spaceship in Alien uses, and I believe that there's a reference to the Weyland-Yutani Corporation too. Which Weyland-Yutani is like I don't even know. I believe it's a reference to like a novel that Ridley Scott had used in Alien, and now because of Alien, the Weyland-Yutani Corporation shows up in everything.
Yeah, Yutani was the name of his neighbor where he was living at the time when he was developing Alien, and I forget what Wayland comes from, because in the first film, Alien, it's Wayland without the D, and then in all subsequent stuff, it's Wayland. Strange evolution, but yeah. Because he couldn't just straight up copy an actual corporation. I mean, he could have, but he wanted to do something unique. I just like in Blade Runner, all the super big corporations that they thought would still be around in 2019.
The giant Atari
Pan Am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Coca-Cola I think is the only one that like really made it through.
Yeah. I don't know if those were specific brands of Japanese cigarettes and pills and everything else, but
I mean,
I love that shit.
The metric ton of Johnny Walker that he goes through.
Yes.
Deckard alone is keeping Johnny Walker in business.
I didn't even see. I completely missed Atari. But that's just. I love stuff like that. Like, it's very like specific to the time period that it was.
Yeah.
Shot in.
Yeah. If you look at there's the Blade Runner curse of like all the businesses that went bankrupt since this movie is gonna come out.
Oh no. I also just looked up Ridley Scott because I was curious how old he was, because he got
started directing really late in his life.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't realize he directed The Martian. I thought I've seen that movie. I saw it twice in theaters. That is one of the only movies that I've ever seen twice in theaters.
It's a good book.
Very good, yes. Sorry,
that book is nerdy as shit, and I love it for it.
Yeah, it is.
I love it. It's so good. But yeah, no, I didn't. Ridley Scott 84 for anybody who was curious.
He's old.
Yeah. Give us one more Alien film. Come on, you can do it.
Is he working on anything right now, or like what's Mr. Scott up to?
He put out 2 movies last year. He's working on shit.
I have to look now. I have to look.
Yeah, he's working on something. That dude puts out movies like crazy.
He did House of Gucci.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The last
10 upcoming projects.
Jesus.
In production: Napoleon and Untitled Alien prequel. In development: The Color of Lightning, Wraiths of the Broken Land, Untitled Ridley Scott / Simon Mann project, The Prisoner rumored, The Merlin Saga, Queen and Country, It's What I Do, and Gladiator 2.
He's been working on Gladiator 2 since Gladiator 1 came out.
What is Gladiator 2 going to be?
Makenna, I've thought about doing a pop cultural studies episode about Gladiator.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't think that there's a full episode there, but the original like ending of Gladiator, and I think the pitch for Gladiator 2 was that it's Maximus is the gladiator, right?
Yes.
Maximus is reborn throughout time as major like to fight in like every single war.
Like So like a military version of Blackadder with Rowan Atkinson. Where
Yes.
it's okay. Cool.
Yes, exactly.
Sweet. All right, I'm in. Why not?
Okay.
Sure.
Basically like the opening montage of the Wolverine Origins movie, but it's Russell Crowe being reborn instead of living through all of it.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Let's do it. I've never seen Gladiator 1, but I'm ready for Gladiator 2. Come on.
If Gladiator 1 is on HBO, we need to do... 'cause Gladiator 1 fucking rules, man. That movie's awesome.
Gladiator, is that like 4 hours long, or am I thinking of another
No.
Roman
You're...
or Greek movie? How long?
Gladiator's
there
only like a
was-
2-hour movie.
Yeah.
Who?
It respects your time.
What had like Helen of Troy and like the Trojans?
Oh, you're thinking of Troy.
Right.
Troy. That's what.
Oh,
that
yeah.
makes
Hell
more
yeah,
sense
Troy.
now.
It's not a great
Yeah,
movie, but
I
I
had to watch
like
that in
Troy a
school.
lot.
We had to watch it in during that unit in English in my senior year. I enjoyed it. It was a good time. It was a 4-hour movie to watch during class. It took like 3
so
weeks.
long.
It was great.
Best
It's
times
so
ever.
long.
Yeah, exactly.
The best
Except-
part of that movie is the ending where they like throw out like MCU style like pitches for other movies. Like he get like when the guy hands that kid the sword, he's like, "Get the sword out of here." And he's like, "By the way, what's your name?" Aeneas. It's like, oh wow, they wanted to spin that off. Or fucking what's his name? The guy who dies in all the movies.
Sean Bean.
Yeah, Sean Bean
Sean-
plays Odysseus. And like, yeah,
Oh.
partway through the movie, they're just like, "Okay, Odysseus, go have fun on your boat."
What could possibly happen? That's
Oh, boy.
amazing. Let's watch Troy.
Yeah, let's watch. I think it's on Netflix. I don't think it's on HBO.
New podcast. Okay.
Yeah.
let's-
Um,
just to watch Troy.
It's the Troy podcast.
It'll be great. I'm sure it'll be a smash hit.
Okay,
Um,
I got a couple things.
yeah,
we need.
I
we
know.
need to
I
touch
was
on.
okay. Go for it.
Okay, one, the chess game.
Mm.
Makenna, did you look up the chess game at all?
No.
So the chess game it's actually based on a famous chess game called
Okay.
the Immortal Game, where
Ooh.
Roy tricks Tyrell into he like does like he gives up his queen intentionally to exploit his bishop to get Tyrell into a checkmate, even though Tyrell has only lost 3 pawns.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's called
Okay.
the Immortal Game, and it's the game that Roy wins so that he can ask his creator for longer life. So
Oh.
thematic coolness there.
Love that. Love chess.
The
Oh,
one of my
speaking
favorite
of the
shots
chess
of
game.
the chess game. You got stuff on chess.
Shout out to William Sanderson, Larry, the brother of Daryl and his other brother Daryl from Newhart.
Yeah,
Guy's fucking funny.
yeah. We talked about the glass and snow scene, which is one of the iconic shots from this movie. It's so good. Another small shot that I really love is after Deckard gets his ass kicked by Leon. He's back in his apartment, and he takes a drink from the shot glass, and some blood goes down the. I love that shot so much. It's so cool. Let's see. We talked about the unicorn. Okay, so we talked about how cool Deckard's glasses are. We also need to talk about how fucking cool Deckard's gun is.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
gun
So much
design
better
is so
than
good.
like the production sketches of what it was going to be.
Yeah, they
Um,
went through like quite a lot of versions of it. Like actually like getting a I believe Adam Savage has a YouTube video where he does a full build of the Blade Runner gun and
Mm-hmm.
goes through it's almost a different gun in every single scene. They were constantly rebuilding and retooling the gun throughout the thing. And there's like one shot, I think, where they like the hero pose. Very similar like Han Solo's blaster, where it's a different version of that throughout them. But yeah, that gun's so cool. It's one of the only movie props I've ever like really wanted to own. It's got the cool orange handle and stuff. It's double barreled. It's awesome. Awesome gun.
Good gun.
We talk about the eyes for a second in this movie.
Yes.
Which they definitely bring into that animated series. Thank God for that.
Yeah.
It's just one more nice little touch.
So like the obvious version of like the eye motif like goes out through the entire movie. The obvious version of it is the eye glow that all the replicants have. But like the movie starts off with the eye, which I love. And it looks so good in the final cut as opposed to the other cuts where it's like the shot of future LA, shot of the eye, and you get the reflection of the city in the eye. Looks so
that's
good.
Sweet. That's a good shot.
And then there is the Voight-Kampff test, which looks at replicants' eyes as the motif there. You know, the eye is the window into the soul, so the test looks at the eye to see if there's a soul inside. Roy kills Tyrell by shoving his fingers through his eyes.
Yeah, he does. I did. He put his hands right there, and I go, oh, I know exactly where this is about to go, and I looked the other direction.
Yeah, it's
was
in the final cut, it is you get a
Crunchy.
nice good close up.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Crunchy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the sound
Oh,
effects,
the sound is
wet and crunchy.
Oh.
Sounds like a bowl of cereal.
Oh no! I can never eat.
I'm so sorry.
When they go visit the wonderful James Hong, they go see him at iWorld, where Chew makes eyes, and they have that wonderful exchange of I built your eyes, and he's like, Chew, if only you could see what I have seen with them. Rutger Hauer's so goddamn good in this movie. I love Rutger Hauer's one of the most underrated actors of all time. He's so good in everything, and like he never got a chance to be a leading man in American films, except for indie classic Hobo with a Shotgun.
Oh my God! I haven't heard about that movie in ages. I'm sorry. I mean, I dropped the cake. Let me tell you why I know that movie.
You know Hobo with a Shotgun?
I know Hobo. I've never seen it, but I know of it because my friends found it in a dollar store, and they had a watch. I'm not friends who live near me. They had a watch party for it. I think there might be a sequel as well. I can't remember, but I heard it's terrible, and now I want to watch it.
Makenna, what if
Is
I
it on
told you
HBO?
that Hobo with a Shotgun is actually a really good movie?
Is it actually?
Yes, it is
I'm gonna
actually
text my
a
friend
really
right now.
good movie.
I'm texting my friend.
Yeah, Rutger Hauer is. I just love all that he got to ad lib and just bringing.
So
so good.
He got to do so much for this movie. When he walks his introduction and when he walks into iWorld, he quotes was it William Blake, I think.
Sounds right.
I think so. Let me quick Google there. But he got to like completely William Blake. He got to like really inform the character, like almost entirely based on William Blake. If you don't know, William Blake is like a poet and a writer who his poems have a really complex mythology to it, and he used the character Orc from his poems to inform the character of Roy Batty. That's why he shoves a nail through his hand. It is a like a Christ analogy of the crucifixion, but it's also something that the character of Orc does. He gets crucified as well. They just kind of let him do whatever he wanted on the movie. The famous poem that Roy reads right before he dies was almost entirely written by Rutger Hauer.
It's so good. It's so good.
That is my favorite scene in any movie ever, and it's why
See why.
it's my favorite movie is because of that scene. Watching this movie for the first time, it was very much like, okay, this is kind of good. It's not what I was expecting. It's very long. Not a lot's happening.
Yeah.
And then
watching that death scene with the voiceover,
yeah,
that is so fucking painful.
Yeah,
you get this
so
beautiful, touching moment. One of the greatest death scenes you are ever going to see in sci-fi films or films in general. And then, well, I don't know if in that moment he was able to find his humanity or whatever the bullshit voiceover was, but it's so fucking painful.
It's really, really bad. But the shot composition of Deckard hanging off the building, and you get that close up of Roy where he does
quite a thing to live in fear.
Yeah, quite a thing, isn't it, to live in fear? That's what it is to be a slave. And then Deckard spits on him and is about to fall, and Roy decides that he's going to save Deckard, and then delivers the greatest scene in film history. I love the shot composition of it, the blue and like green paint that's running down Roy's face, the torrential rain throughout all of it, and the dove flies off. Heavy-handed metaphor, but an apt one. I think it's necessary.
It works.
But like the way deciding to end the movie this way, of Roy saving Deckard being the final thing that he does, completes Roy's journey in a just brilliant way. The entire film, the way I look at it, is Roy proving his humanity to the world, and his almost superiority to humanity, where he bests them in physical strength through when they walk into Eyeworld in the cold, and he kicks the shit out of Deckard throughout the entire movie. He kills his creator with his bare hands. He defeats God Tyrell in chess. And then the only way that he hasn't proven himself better than humanity is the one thing that, according to them, makes him not human. He doesn't have empathy. He doesn't have emotions. And so by choosing his last action to save Deckard, he proves that he is capable of empathy, and then he dies.
That was beautifully put.
Yeah, that was good.
The way I think about the movie is that the film itself is a Voight Kampff test. That's why I think it opens with a shot of what I think is Roy's eye, right? We're looking into his eye to see if he has a soul.
Damn, I don't know how to go from there.
And then Edward James Olmos shows up and delivers another really great line.
Yes, too bad she won't live. But then again,
who does?
Yeah, and I think that he, once again, that he ends up not killing Rachel. I mean, it's obvious that he was there in Deckard's apartment because he left the door open, and there's the unicorn origami. But I think he lets them go again because he's in on it, and they're both experiments, and the idea is to let them go off into the wild and just continue on.
Yeah. I think one thing about this film is that it is much like the film Joe and I reviewed, Mulholland Drive, earlier, I think last month now. This is a film where it's more about what things mean to you than what they're intended to mean. This is a film that you're supposed to explore and learn something from, like actually analyze it and stuff. And so like I don't think that there are bad interpretations of this movie. I don't care if people think like this. Arguing online about whether Deckard is a replicant or not seems stupid to me.
Yeah.
Like learn something from the film. It doesn't matter whether he is or not. It's how you want to interpret it.
I had the biggest disappointment of quite some time today when I learned that Guillermo del Toro prefers the original version with the voiceover.
There are people who prefer the original version. Some people think that it helps facilitate the plot. Some people don't like the unicorn dream. This movie without the unicorn dream feels completely incomplete to me. It's so weird that I get people are like, why is there a unicorn in the movie? And, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, it's like an actual unicorn.
Yes.
For some reason, okay.
They stuck a horn onto a horse and they filmed it.
Up until this very moment, I didn't think too hard about it. I thought it was a big version of the origami unicorn going through the forest.
Oh, no. It is quite I mean, I would pay to see that too. But
like it just it hops along. Yeah, no, this makes way more sense now.
Yeah, in some ways, it was almost like test footage for a subsequent
Legend.
Ridley Scott film, Legend. Yes,
Yeah.
which I have a soft spot in my heart for Legend.
I love Legend. That movie's
mostly
awesome.
because Tim Curry fucking rips in that movie.
Yeah, Tim Curry plays the devil. Tom Cruise is in it. There's a unicorn.
Yep.
This is your 3 signs that it's a good movie.
Yeah.
Tim Curry, Tom Cruise, unicorn.
Yep.
Nothing.
Name one movie that's bad that has Tim Curry, Tom Cruise, and a unicorn. You can't do it.
Confirm. I did just get an answer back from my friend. Hobo with a Shotgun was the dollar store movie that he said was terrible. I'm sorry. Go on.
That movie
just
rips.
wanted to make sure everyone was updated.
All right.
Yeah. And Rutger Hauer, he died fairly recently, like 2016 or something.
Yeah,
just 2 years ago. We haven't yet, but we're going to do Batman Begins, which is another Rutger Hauer film.
Oh shit! Really?
Yeah, he's in that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh! I'll be surprised to see who he is. Who's the villain in Batman Begins?
You probably won't recognize him.
Oh, who's the villain in Batman Begins?
Mostly Scarecrow.
I don't want to.
We talked about it a little bit when we did the
okay.
Dark Knight.
Oh, okay.
It's mostly Scarecrow.
Yeah. I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember.
mostly Scarecrow.
Scarecrow! He's in the other ones too. He's got the bag. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The story of Rutger Hauer getting the role for Blade Runner is really funny, where like he read the script, got the audition, and like cut his hair really weird, showed up in like this like ridiculous neon outfit.
Yeah, it was like a jumpsuit, like a purple jumpsuit.
Yeah. Rutger Hauer, like he's kind of a weird dude. I love him so much.
Oh yeah. Doesn't he have like a film that's basically a ripoff of like Zatoichi, the Blind Swordsman?
Yes, he does. I think it's called Blind Fury.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, the movie's awesome. He's a hell of a guy. If you like just scroll through his IMDb page of just all these movies that he's in, it's like, man, like he spent most of his career doing like weird TV and straight to DVD kind of stuff. But he's such a fantastic actor. I don't know why he wasn't used more. He's so good.
I don't know. It's I could see a lot of people looking at people that they were first introduced to because of Blade Runner and looking at the success of Blade Runner and being all, nah, not going to hire them.
Yeah. And that could be part of it. That certainly does happen.
Oh, yes.
I'm glad Daryl Hannah got to go on to do some really great stuff.
Yeah.
I really want to do Kill Bill on this show.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I don't think you've actually seen a Quentin Tarantino directed film, right, McKenna?
Was From Dusk Till
We
Dawn
did
not...
From Dusk Till Dawn, but he only wrote it.
That's right.
So maybe we'll have to do Kill Bill Part 1 and 2. Special double episode of HBO Mak.
Never seen a Quentin Tarantino. Yes. I know of the movies. I've never seen them. No. No, that was Michael Bay. No, I don't know. No, I haven't.
All right.
It's fine.
Well, Joe, you got anything else you want to talk about Blade Runner?
No, I think we kind of put it all out there. It's oh god, just I love the franchise that it ultimately has become, because it's not like this overdone terrible sequel. No, they've very, very much picked and choose what they have.
It disappeared
done.
for a long time.
Oh yeah. I we talked briefly about that Westwood graphic adventure, and I'd actually love to pick that up and play that again. Just this is a nice little reminder of all the fun stuff that wasn't used from the book, that ultimately, like, there's this whole subplot in the book about him being picked up and taken to this police station that is ultimately populated by replicants.
Yeah.
I love that. That's so cool.
Interesting.
But I get why that doesn't work for the film that we got. But, just seeing some of that stuff fleshed out. I mean, Zorro is basically kind of like an evolution of this opera singer character from the book.
And like one of the replicants, like we said, got completely cut out of the film. Who she like dies on like an electrical fence when they're trying to infiltrate the Tyrell Corporation at the beginning.
Right. There's like a one-off line about it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The book's really neat. I Philip K. Dick's like such a weird writer that I never recommend his books to people, just because, like, I don't know, man.
I once read a book where he was a character. It's called Pandemonium. It's about a world where demonic possession is a regular thing. And he plays... Well, the character is essentially Philip K. Dick if he were possessed by a demon. And the demon is named after one of his stories as well. And I can't think of what it is.
It's
but
probably
it's
Cubic
such
or...
No, it starts with
No?
a V.
Oh, Valis.
Yes.
That's what I've been thinking of. I get some of his books have really weird names. Valis is about like an actual like psychological break that he had where he went nuts for a couple years, and he thought that
very much makes sense.
A satellite from space was sending pink energy down to mind control people. David Bowie is a character in that book because he actually hung out with David Bowie during that time. Book's nuts. Absolutely nuts.
Yeah, and this was, kind of a little throwaway sci-fi story, but it was a lot of fun. I love just the whole Philip K. Dick aesthetic. Most of his stories just have to do with what it means to be human in one way or another.
Yeah.
And yeah, that makes for some really interesting sci-fi more often than not. And Blade Runner has definitely become the peak of that for sure. I look forward to at some point maybe something else, but I would be more than happy if this was it as well, because I just hate to be disappointed. But yeah, that's all I got on Blade Runner. Watch it. Watch the final cut.
Watch the final cut. People talk a lot of shit about, I don't know what cut to watch. The final cut. Watch the final cut.
There in the fucking title.
Just watch the final cut.
Yeah.
Brandon, do you have any final thoughts on Blade Runner?
This is a film that it's hard to talk about because its effect on me has been so large that like I can't even like formulate like specific thoughts. Like you would have to like prompt me, hey, what do you think about this? And then I would talk for an hour about that thing. So no, like I think I've covered everything that I wanted to talk about with this film today. It's, in my opinion, the greatest work of film that's ever been made. I think it uses the medium of film to its absolute max. Wonderful picture.
Yes, 10 out of 10. Go watch it. Like Joe. Do it. Watch it. Joe, where can people find you on the internet?
On the interwebs, well, basically Twitter at Mertens if you want to see a bunch of shit takes on movies and the state of the world that we're in. And yes, come watch Murders with Mertens, my little dumb horror podcast where I bring on a guest and we talk about one of their favorite films and just, get into the nitty gritty of why we like all the cool shit that's in it.
It's a really good show.
It's very good.
Really good.
Go watch it. Go watch that before you watch Blade Runner.
Go watch it. Yeah, you've got episodes with longtime HBO Max guest Mario Rivera.
Yes.
They talk about Twin Peaks. There's an episode with yours truly where we talk about Mulholland Drive. Yep. It's a solid podcast. Really, really enjoy that one.
Very good.
Well, thank you for that. That's much appreciated.
Of course. Brandon, where can people find you on the internet?
People can find me all over the internet at Jose Ruckus on the Twitter, the Instagram, TikTok, all the important stuff. Yeah. We're selling the HDG shirt right now. If you're watching this when it comes out, the HDG shirt is available. It's made by Tiff Stardust. It's a super cool design, and we're donating all the profits to the Last Active Abortion Fund in Texas. So buy one.
I'm buying it as we speak because I meant to do it before and I forgot to.
Hell yeah. Mac, where do the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at PowerPants212, and then there's a link in my bio for other places you can find me, like Simply Sassy, and on Instagram. I sometimes do things on there. Not really, but it's there if you want. Yes, and then you can follow the show on Twitter at HBO Max, HBO Maks, where Brandon puts up these sweet, sweet little snippets, and they're very good. And they're very good descriptors of the podcast. And yeah, you go on YouTube and subscribe and go comment what thing
on this one. Comment is that a bathroom? Question mark.
Is that a bathroom? Yes.
Let us know if you think if that is a bathroom or not.
I am here for 2.5 more weeks. We will find out at the end of those 2.5 weeks if that is a bathroom.
You have a mission.
I can't tell. I also don't.
Does your bathroom have a window in it?
No. But there's also different layouts of different rooms in here, and they're in a different building than I am.
Hey, let me ask, what type of a window is it? Is it like a double hung or a single hung? Is the bottom pane or sash of glass there, is that frosted?
No.
Then probably not a bathroom.
It might.
But then again, she's in the UK. All these buildings are so old.
Yeah, that's true too.
Got weird windows. I don't know. I'm confused. I don't know.
I just find it very unlikely that there's a window in a bathroom in student housing.
That's how I feel too. For it to just be looking out, it seems suspect.
I'll get my best detective.
You're gonna get to the bottom of this. Yeah,
I will get to the bottom
of this.
You will be a better detective than Deckard.
Yeah, that's the goal. Yes, that concludes HBO Max. Woo! Go watch Blade Runner. Woo! Woo!